So if I could invite on stage Marta Garcia from Visit Cascais, Philippe Resnikov from Portugal, and our third guest, Stephen Baldwin, is, I'm sure, very close by. Yes, indeed. Wonderful. Marta, if you sit in the middle, and we'll put... that's fine, yes, whichever. Okay, right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to start with our friend and colleague Marta from Visit Cascais. Now, Marta, I know that you are in charge of residential tourism and golf at Visit Cascais. Now, Visit Cascais is the tourism arm of the municipality of Cascais. And tell us a little bit about why your mayor, your boss, the mayor of Cascais, why he says that people always come first in the Cascais area.
Yeah. Hello?
Is it good?
It's okay, this?
Yeah.
It's all right?
Can you hear it?
Yeah. Okay. No, it's true. In Cascais, we are totally focused on the quality of life. We really like to be seen as the best place to live one day or a lifetime. Cascais is a kind of perfect blend between the urban living and nature. Actually, we were very blessed with our location. We are surrounded, we have the sea at the front and the natural park at the back. And so we are talking about in 30 kilometers of seashore with 70 beaches to choose from. And above everything is the energy, the way of life, this laid-back atmosphere. All of this together with all the commodities and facilities that you need. Here I'm talking about in a great network of schools, public and private school, including 15 international schools, a top-ranking university, the state-of-art of healthcare facilities, mobility, for instance, the mobility, green mobility, and I should say that transportation are free for everyone that lives, study, or works in Cascais. I can also tell you about the card, the project Viver em Cascais, Living in Cascais card, with very nice benefits for all the residents in several areas as health, leisure, free access to the museums, for instance, the mobility, I told you already, healthcare benefits, and this is for all the residents in Cascais, for the ones who were born in Cascais and for the ones that choose to live in Cascais. And as I said in the morning, is the way of life, and that's why I like to say that it's easier to be happy in Cascais.
We're in Cascais and in London. Just to recap, ladies and gentlemen, so Cascais, you may not have heard of it, but you will have heard of the area of Cascais. Cascais is just west of Lisbon. The town of Cascais is the centre of the Cascais region, but Cascais stretches almost up to Lisbon, the Oeiras town, which is halfway to Lisbon. It stretches up to Sintra, which a lot of you will know, and it encompasses some of the most beautiful parts of Portugal, some of the most expensive real estate, but also some of the best value real estate, I think, in the whole area. And as I said, I lived in the town of Cascais 10 years myself, so I have very fond memories, although I don't remember those donkeys, but they were there somewhere. Now, the other reason to know about Cascais is that a lot of Portugal's foreign community live in the Cascais area because Portugal is 10 million people, of which around 900,000 are foreigners, which is a big percentage of Portugal. Of those 900,000, around 250,000 are Brazilian, for obvious reasons, because they speak Portuguese as well. But the British are the second biggest foreign community, the resident community in Portugal. There's at least 48,000 British people officially resident in Portugal right now, plus thousands of others who come and go or live there. They can't live there permanently now because of Brexit, but that's why these shows are so popular, because so many British who are used to spending months every year in Portugal now want to find a way to do it after Brexit. So many British people have gone to live and work in the Cascais area, and we have one such example sitting with us here on the stage, Stephen Baldwin. Now, Stephen, quite by chance, you did come to 2 of these shows in the past, so you are, little did I know that until we spoke earlier, but Stephen is living proof that these shows do work. Stephen, tell us a little bit about why you made the move. I know you made the move in September 2019. What was your job here and what happened? Did you take a family? How did it all work out?
So I know where the donkeys are.
Oh, you do? Right.
Yeah, I can take you there. I moved in 2019. There was a seed. Cascais is a place I visited in the 90s once. Never heard of it, probably like many of you. I've never heard of the place and fell in love with it then. Since then, I was working as a consultant for a software company. I was actually employed at the time, all the way from 2015 to 2019 when I actually left. And I spent a couple of years with my employer before remote working, asking them whether there's a chance I could remote work in Portugal and take my family there, very much for an adventure. I had in mind with my teenage kids it was going to be a big adventure because there's a lot of uprooting to do. And we took that into account, finally got the go-ahead, tapped the car, detoxed the house, rented the house out, and said we're going to make the move. We had, at that time, nowhere to go except Cascais. We booked an Airbnb, and then slowly we found, after about a month or 2 months, for a year, and in comes COVID. And COVID did 2 things. It destroyed the thought process in the world, but actually one of the few places I thought that had freedom was Cascais. There's open space, there's a sense of freedom. The images up here probably do justice rather than me talking. That is everything that Cascais is. It's beautiful, it's colourful, geographically beautiful. A place that I've now set up a business and also remote work, so I can easily come and go from London on a regular basis as well.
Yeah, because there's 9 flights a day. What were we discussing earlier? 9 flights a day between London, just London.
Well, yeah, and
London and Portugal. And Portugal, yeah, exactly.
And yeah, the great thing about that is Cascais is 25 minutes away.
Yeah, from Lisbon Airport.
Cabs are really cheap compared to the UK, and I'm actually spending less money commuting back into London with flights than I would pay on the underground system from South London to my office.
How much did you pay for your flight here?
My flight here was return €79. Now, my wife is going to be in town next week, and I'm spending a week here for UK work still. And she's flying back on the 4th of April to Lisbon for €14.
It's absurd, it's absurd. Although, right, okay. Now, Steve, just before we talk to Philippe, tell us, you came to Portugal with your family with a grown-up job in IT as a consultant. So you were more than willing and able to run your career from Portugal, which we see a lot of. A lot of people with mature careers, they end up being able to do it from wherever they want to live. And they choose Portugal as a base and then travel from there. But once you got to Portugal, something happened. A business opportunity popped up, didn't it? Which you weren't expecting.
It did. I mean, I've always been a fan of the outdoors, so I bought myself an electric bike, and this was before they became really popular. And I used to cycle that bike up and down, and I used to work at that point remotely from hotels. And that's now changed because I've now found probably the best co-working space I've ever found in any job I've ever had in labs co-work. But at that time, the hotels were intrigued about this electric bike, and it made me think that there's a tourism opportunity to own electric bikes, rent them to guests at hotels, and actually have a little side of them. So there was a passion for what I do in electric bikes and cycling. It's backed up by the bread and butter of working with my London business. So I set up a tourism business, guided tourism business, with electric bikes and built that fleet up over a few years to 40 electric bikes. Now we serve hotels, we also serve corporates. And it was a business opportunity, and this is something that you should all be thinking about, whether you're self-employed, employed, and you're maybe even looking at a tiny opportunity, but there are the opportunities in Portugal, because if you have a mindset of the UK, and you can bring those skills to Portugal, not only is it welcome in Portugal, but there is an opportunity there. So that's what's worked for me.
Okay. And tell us a bit more about co-working. You mentioned LACS, LACS, which is a co-working space in Cascais, and in fact, somebody from the co-working space LACS is in reception in the Cascais area. What does it mean in practice, co-working in Cascais? How does that work?
So co-working has obviously become the flavour over the last few years. It's changed with COVID because people then went back home, but I think everyone's now moving back into working together in a single space. So in Cascais, what does that mean? It means there is a community of people very similar to me who are now self-employed as consultants, working in an open, beautifully designed space, by the way, supported by the reception and the backup of the actual co-work business itself. And they've got a variety of locations around that I can use, Porto, Lisbon, they're looking to expand. But that means it builds on your social community, because one of the things that not many people talk about is the elephant in the room, which is move to paradise. But actually, I don't make any friends. I can't meet anyone. I don't speak the language. There isn't a community. That was my springboard of a community, and from that, I developed not only business contacts, friendships. We've now got a strong sports community. We're all out for having fun, football, soccer, and the biggest thing out in Portugal right now is paddle tennis.
Yeah.
So that's what it gave me comfort that I'm away from what I remember as home, but I'm definitely at home in Portugal now. I really feel that because of these different networks that have been built.
And do you feel that the foreign community plays a big role in the Cascais area, or is it the Portuguese equally strong? How do you feel?
It's certainly more evident in the expat community. Lots of Brits, many people moving, obviously at that time for tax reasons, and it's an expensive real estate area, but value, as you say. But there are Portuguese in there, and I think it's slowly blending, into a really nice, diverse community. And that's what I wanted. For me, there are other parts of the world, even Portugal, that were a little bit linear and quite one-dimensional, but this has got everything.
Yeah, we should add that I think what Stephen means is that in the Cascais area, particularly in the co-working, there'll be English, but there'll be French, Swiss, Dutch, Germans. It's a very international community in Lisbon, often Portuguese themselves, of course, and the international community is particularly strong in the Cascais area and around Estoril, etc. Could you pass the microphone to our friend Philippe? Now, the third member of our panel is Philippe Reznikov, who is actually Brazilian-born, I discovered this morning, but lived in Portugal most of his life. He lives in Cascais, and Philippe works in the real estate sector and has done for 30 years, I think. So you've seen everything in terms of real estate in Portugal. You've particularly seen how the Cascais area just outside Lisbon has evolved in that time from a relatively sleepy village, never was a village, relatively sleepy place, still a very chic summer destination for the Portuguese. But over the last 20 years, how would you characterise the change in Cascais in real estate terms? What's happened?
First of all, thank you very much once again for this lovely meeting and this very well organized event. And it's a pleasure to be here. It's true, I've been living for 32 years in Cascais, and Cascais is still a villa. Actually, comparing to London, I think 2 shopping malls, it's the whole Cascais area. That is true. Even if it's a big area, it's a very quiet place, very tranquil to live. One thing very important for UK that are interesting is the weather. We have a wonderful weather all along the year. I would say maybe 250, 260 days, sunny days along the year. And about the real estate, it's also true. We were very tranquil, but I would say that maybe 10 years ago, Portugal was really scored. And so it's amazing how we, with some tax benefits, with some influence of others, but how foreign people started to visit Portugal, liking Portugal, and living in Portugal. And as Steve very well mentioned, it's important to connect, important to create, of course. I know UK very well because my kids live here. And it's very important to take your skills from here to develop there. Because certainly they're both friendly countries, but very different ones. And the proximity, the number of flights, the opportunities that the new technology brings to Portugal, it's so important, so developed nowadays that I really recommend. In terms of real estate, Cascais, it's really one of, or maybe the most wealthy surroundings of Lisbon and the whole Portugal. But there's very interesting opportunities. I was discussing with Steve in the interior of Cascais. If you just go, when I mean interior for London, you have to travel 2 hours. For Cascais, you have to travel 20 minutes because it's a very tiny. And you find opportunities. There was someone talking to me about would it be interesting to buy a land and then build a house. I said, if you have some skills and you be there to help it, yes. If you just buy and hire someone and be alone on just calling, I wouldn't advise to do that. But there's many opportunities. So Portugal is still a big bureaucratic country, but if you work by the book, things work. So there are many private condominiums, as Martha said. Amazing the level of international school, the universities. So there's such a huge opportunities and things to know that I really recommend at least to take a vacation, rent a car, drive through Portugal, then rent an apartment instead of buying, just to see if you feel better in Cascais or in Lisbon or in Porto or whatever. But it's worth knowing Portugal, that's for sure.
Okay, Philippe, tell us, how many British people come to Porto da Frente, your real estate business? What proportion of your market is British?
I don't have the exact figure, but it's been improving quite a lot. Yes,
Are we the biggest group that you deal with?
yes. Now there are a lot of Brazilians.
Yeah.
Amazingly, since 5 years, Americans started to rediscover Portugal, even the islands, Azores, Madeira, and British are cool because in Algarve there's a huge community of British, and now they are learning that Cascais is much better because it's really on the corner of Lisbon. And the golfers, there are many British that love golf. You can play on the winter time. So it's amazing.
It's wonderful. Okay, we're getting to the end of our time, but Marta, perhaps you'd like to answer one question, which is, in what way is Cascais different from other municipalities in terms of welcoming foreigners? How would you characterise the differences?
Okay, I think
Stephen could answer that.
Stephen said almost on everything. But you used to say that there are no foreigners in Cascais, and actually we have more than 120 different nationalities living in Cascais. So about 20% of the residents are foreigners, and I could say that most of them are Brazilians, 30%, but 8% are British. They are our second market. Yeah. So, but what I think that is different is it's integration. So, despite this big expat community, I feel that they are very, very well integrated in Cascais community. And as I said, all benefits, all that we have to offer in Cascais is for the ones that were born in Cascais and for the ones who choose Cascais to call a home. And I think you are very, very welcome and you feel at home in Cascais. But Stefan, you have something to add here?
I know where the donkeys are.
You know where the donkeys are. Take it to the donkeys. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've established it's easier to be happy in Cascais, as Marta says. So I'd like to thank Stephen, Marta and Philippe for their very kind time and promoting Cascais. Thank you very much.